Customer advocates will support you and your brand. They will show up as an extension of your brand because they want to, because they believe in you. But that doesn't come from this very transactional type of interface that you create for them. It comes from relationship building and letting them feel like they are part of your company. That's where the real magic is.
Welcome, everyone, to Trusted Voices, Trusted's podcast platform. Now, for those of you who don't know Trusted, Trusted is a trust-led growth engine for enterprise businesses. Trusted makes every team a builder of trust and your customers your best sellers. And I'm pleased to be joined today by Jeni Asaba from Jamf. So thank you so much, Jeni, for taking the time and being with us this afternoon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me, Emma. I'm really excited about our conversation.
Yeah, brilliant. I know when we first met, we just gelled straight away and couldn't stop chatting. So I'm really looking forward to this discussion and sharing it with everybody. And I hope you like our trusted little logo, our little smile here.
That's
And
great.
actually, the smile is how we're going to start off. So I'd love to ask you, Jeni, what is a brand a brand that you'd advocate for today or you are advocating for today?
This isn't entirely a brand, but I think it's incredibly needed, and that's just humanity. I feel like we are in a tough spot as a global society, and more conversations that I'm having with people when they say you ask the normal question of how are you, and they say I'm fine, and then you say how are you really?
Yeah.
And everybody else has another layer. I want to encourage people and I want to advocate for let's bring back the humanity. And I know this comes into everything we're going to talk about too, but get out some paper and pen and write a card, send a text message to check in with somebody. Just be really good humans out there and let's get back to our humanity. Not a brand, but I feel like if we start with that, everything might else fall in place.
Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, just getting a little thank you card in the post or a little note in the post means so much more now, doesn't it, as well? And I know you do quite a bit of charity work, aren't you? I saw something on LinkedIn. Do you want to just quickly share that you've done?
Yeah. Thank you for asking. Yeah, my husband and I, we are just huge advocates for providing opportunities for those who don't have it. So we built a school in rural Uganda, and
Wow.
we now have 315 kiddos, pre-7 that we support.
Oh, huge congratulations. Huge
Thank you.
congratulations. Massive. Fantastic. And actually, I think giving back, if I'm going to make that tenuous link, was where we first started talking
Yeah.
about customer advocacy,
Mhm.
community advocacy, engagement. And I think we were both from the same schools of thought around gamification and having,
Mhm.
and how we need to modernize. Do you just want to share your opinion on that?
Yeah, we did. We gelled on this right away because the world was all, I want to say, in a similar bucket when it came to customer advocacy for quite a while, and some people still do this. We believed you get a group of very engaged, happy, passionate customers, and you say, hey, will you do this thing for me? And in return, I'll give you this other thing. Of course, they're going to. Anybody will do a thing if they're asked for the right price. And that's essentially what we were establishing with our customers is I will pay you, depending on what it is, for doing this activity. And that's not the right way to go about it. I think people who have had advocacy programs for more than a couple of years very quickly learn that number one, that's not sustainable unless you have a giant budget and you're willing
Yeah.
to go down that route. But also, it's not really the essence of customer advocacy. Customer advocates will support you and your brand. They will show up as an extension of your brand because they want to, because they believe in you. But that doesn't come from this very transactional type of interface that you
Yeah.
create for them. It comes from relationship building and letting them feel like they are part of your company. That's where the real magic is. So I know that's where we're leaning to, and I know we're going to talk more about that, but that's why
Yeah.
I get excited too about what's to come, not what we've learned not to do.
Yeah, and I remember actually, at Cisco having run global advocacy for 10 years, you're so right. When we had the gamification, some of the points and some of the prizes, for want of a better description, maybe swag, I remember vividly being asked, what's next up for grabs? What's the next prizes that you're offering? And it was like, that was a big learning curve. I'm not sure that's the right motivation, of what we wanted. So I know we completely gelled. So I want to start probably by asking you, for you today, on a day-to-day basis, what
Yeah.
does customer advocacy look like for you? And I know we deliberately wanted to do this podcast after the event you'd been at last week. So maybe
Wow.
actually start by what that event was. And then if you don't mind, what advocacy looks like for you day to
Yeah,
day.
so yeah, it's perfect. Jamf hosted our annual user conference, which is called JNUC last year. It feels like last year. Last week in Denver, Colorado, we brought 1,800 customers together from
Oh,
around the
wow.
globe to come and be community in one place and to learn about what's coming, but really to learn from each other. That's where the magic is in community. We've talked about this before. We can share all day long how we think customers should use our product, use our services, but really the customers themselves who are using it in their environment, they're the ones who know and they're the ones who have the creative ideas. So we bring them together yearly and let that magic just like blossom and bloom over 3 days. And my team was there with a community booth chatting. It felt like thousands of conversations
Yeah.
about our offerings and community and how we can better connect. And one thing that I'm constantly thinking about, this goes right into my day to day, is trying to strategize and understand how we can better get our customers connected to each other and to the organization. What are the gaps that they are currently feeling? If they're feeling disconnected, why? How can we create more of those meaningful opportunities for them? And then how can we level them up? This is a big focus of ours this year, specifically on customer advocacy, moving away from those transactional
Yep.
asks that we talked about and instead saying, my job and my team's job is to help you, Sam, Emma, Ellen, whoever it is, achieve more personal and professional success as an individual, not at an organizational level. So I
Yep.
want to see you be able to achieve XYZ because we presented different opportunities that help you grow in your career. That's what we're thinking about constantly.
And were they sharing their personal motivations quite openly about what they needed? Yeah.
Absolutely. If you ask, people will tell you. That's the other thing
Yeah.
is how often do we just assume and we forget to ask? If
Yep.
we ask, they'll tell you. So yeah, we brought up with them, hey, you're here at a conference. Would it have been helpful? Because we didn't get to it this year. We meant to, didn't get to it. But would it have been helpful if we had some professional speakers come and talk to you about tips for speaking in front of a crowd? And oh my gosh, that would have been great. Yes,
Yep.
I dropped the ball. Yes, we plan to do it in the future. Those are the types of things that their eyes just light up. Oh my gosh, it would be amazing if you brought somebody in to help me beef up my resume. Because our
Yep.
customers move jobs a
Okay.
lot.
Okay. On that one. Yeah.
So we're always asking them and thinking about who they are as people and what can help them along that journey. And then presenting ideas to them, seeing how they react. If I share an idea and there's a blank stare, I'm like, okay, maybe that wasn't the best idea. Move
Yeah.
on to the next thing, but quickly
Yeah.
iterate and listen.
And what was that? What was the hottest thing you learned in terms of, was it that they wanted? Okay, it's funny because you should say about the professional presentation training. That
Hmm.
was always a popular value add that brands
Hmm.
could have. And certainly Cisco days, it certainly was. It was like, really? You would offer that? And it's like, well, yes,
Yeah,
if that's what's
awesome.
important to you. Yeah.
Mhm.
And was that
Yeah,
really popular again? Yeah.
that is something that every time we bring it up, they're like, "Yeah, that would be great." But really the
Yeah.
biggest thing that and it's kind of going back to where I started, that they were mentioning is we just want to be with each other more. We just want to engage with each other more. And they routinely say, "We came for the sessions, but we came for the hallway talk, the
For the
hallway chat."
networking amongst each other, or getting to
Exactly.
know everyone at Jamf better, or
The
both?
networking amongst each
Networking.
other is the number one reason our customers come to our user conference. It's the one time a year they all get to come together and see each other and meet each other and learn from each other. It is our job in community and in customer advocacy to say, this is the thing that I'm hearing that they're constantly asking for. How do we do that better? How do we move the needle? How do we make it global? That's my job.
Yep. Brilliant. Thank you. Very insightful. So, what skills are most important for someone building a career in advocacy, would you say?
Empathy, creativity, healthy dose of organizational skills always comes
Hmm.
invaluable. Desire to learn, desire to innovate, soft skills. Essentially, we can teach. If you have a community platform, an advocacy tool that you're using, you can teach that. I can't teach people to care about other humans. I
Yeah.
can encourage them. I can show them why it's valuable. I can't light a fire under somebody and build that innate passion that they should have to start with.
Yeah.
That's what I look for. When I interview people for my team, I say, are they actually passionate about people? Are they going to be creative and want to push boundaries and think of creative ways to help our customers find success? That's what I look for. The other stuff can be taught.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because when we say it trusted, quite often we'll say customer advocacy is powered by human nature.
Yes.
It's actually human nature
Yeah.
to be very proud of the decisions that you have made. It's human nature to want to share that, whether that's personal
Mhm.
validation or you're just wanting, if you've done something or bought something really good, you want to share that. It's a natural human nature activity. So it's tapping into that human nature. But equally as
Mhm.
important, as you say, that's got to be important in the organization as well. That soft skill, which
Yeah, it
can't
does. And
underestimate that.
at this conference, I got to meet one of my team members for the first time. I hired her a little over a year ago and I got to meet her for the first time. And I posted out on LinkedIn just a few days ago and I said, I was so incredibly proud of her
Yeah.
because people were coming up to her, person after person. She didn't even have to look at their name tag. I'm always blown away. She just knew who they were. And you could tell that she has been developing a relationship with these folks over that last year, that they were talking about their environment, they were talking about their needs. Like, that is what somebody who is skilled in this area can do,
Yeah.
and not anybody can do it. Not anybody can find XYZ personality, strike up a conversation, understand what their worries are, what their needs are. That takes a special person with some really valuable soft
And
skills.
as you said, have that connection. And she's not a salesperson and she's not in customer success.
No,
She's in marketing, I
she's
presume.
well, we're technically, this is where we value or we differ a little bit, and we've talked this before too, is my team has been in 3 different departments. I started in marketing. I lived in product for a handful of years. We're now under customer success. I don't personally think it matters so much what department you're under as long as the leader above you understands what you're trying to accomplish. And I know we've talked about that too. And a lot of times it can be easier for the marketing leader to understand it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier for customer. It depends on that leadership.
Yeah.
And then you
Because
can
all teams can benefit. And we know
100%.
customer advocacy in its broadest terms is shifted around. It is in
Absolutely.
many silos. It is very disjointed. And you do need that leader to go, I want to take this. I want to own this. This is where it should be, and put the effort and prioritize it in the organization as well. Yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah, I'd forgotten you were in customer success, which is great. Which is great. Well, maybe this works and we open up, but what do you wish people understood about customer advocacy? Because I do
Yeah.
think it is an area that is quite misunderstood or doesn't live up to its potential. Sometimes an afterthought. I don't know. What are your views?
I agree with you 100%. It's kind of the stepchild in an organization. It's honestly one of the reasons I've moved to 3 different departments because they
Yeah.
don't quite know what to do with you. What I would encourage people to understand and really evaluate when you look at your customer advocacy programs, if they have one, is the folks who are in that program, the customers who are dedicated to being advocates are a gem.
Mm.
They are a gem. I don't want to say they're a gem in a field of rocks, even though I just said it out loud, because these are
It
the
works.
folks. These are the folks who will do anything for your organization because they feel like they are valued, they are seen, they are heard, they are appreciated because of how you build this modern day customer advocacy program. So if you go out and you have whatever ask it is, they're going to raise their hand and say, absolutely, I will do that because you are doing so much for me first. You can't go to any community member and do that. You can't.
Yeah.
You can come to a customer advocacy group and you can have a last minute ask the CEO needs, and I've had it. They will step up to the plate and you'll look like a superstar because they believe in you as the community manager, customer advocacy who's taking care of them, but they again see themselves in it as an extension of your brand and they want you to succeed. You don't get that from just anybody. That comes from advocacy.
And actually, when you started off saying, I don't know if you realize you said that, but you said, if you have a customer advocacy program, there's quite a big if. Why do you think there's still an if?
I think the whole area of community, starting from the outside working in, is a little misunderstood, and organizations have not adapted what they need to support their customers. We see communities that still live within support. We
Yeah.
see communities that are still like, it's a forum. You go there to ask a question about your problem, it gets solved and you're done. That's not what community is.
Yeah.
I've said a million times and I'll keep saying it. If you have customers, you have a community, you're probably just not recognizing them if you don't have some sort of a program in place. And if you have a community, you have advocates. There
Yeah.
may just not be a program in place. So I really think it comes down to we're at a spot where customer success was maybe 10, 15 years ago, where people are just starting to really understand how to harness their community base and get them formed together in a way that benefits them, that then the peripheral is helping benefit the organization. We're just in discovery mode, I think. So we
Yeah.
have a lot of work to do.
And I might be putting you on the spot here, Jenny. So say, I couldn't possibly answer that. But if you think about when you have asked advocates to advocate, what percentage do you think of the asks actually say, yes, we will advocate?
Yeah, it depends again on if you're in an advocacy program or not. We know
Yeah.
if you're in an advocacy program, your chances are exponentially higher. If I go into our community, Jamf Nation, which is outstanding, 150,000 members from around the globe, and I put an ask out, I'll probably get volunteers. I'll probably get some like, oh, yeah, I could do that. It would be a handful. The chances are the people who are going to raise their hand are members of the advocacy program
Yeah.
where they will 100% step up and do anything for you because of all the reasons we already discussed. So
Yeah.
that's the group that you can rely on the most. The other people may not even know you exist, depending on how some community managers run their community. They're behind the scenes, and the
Mm.
community members don't even know who they are. I think that's a huge missed opportunity. I don't advocate for that being a way that you run community, but some people do it. But that just goes to show where there can be a disconnect, whereas if you're in customer advocacy programs, they're not developing a relationship just with you as the member where they know how many boys they have, they know their ages, they know their names, right? Because you're developing human relationships, but they know that about each other too. That's where that real magic comes in play because they're building genuine friendships with each other that aren't just going to splinter when they move to another job or when they're no longer using our product. Those are lifelines.
Yeah.
That's where the magic.
I love you use the word magic as well, actually, because I remember back to Cisco when we launched our first advocacy program, then we had fantastic advocates in Europe, and then we were going to launch it in the US. So we offered the ability for our top advocates in Europe to help us with the stand we had at our event, and they helped us recruit advocates in the
Yeah.
US. And then they became really good friends, as you mentioned, and the networking and the connections there was fantastic. But I couldn't believe that's what an advocate, I think we took 2 or 3 from Europe to the US, and they were it was like an extension of our team. And helped us recruit others. And then when an advocate is hearing directly from another advocate, then that trust is there. They could say, what I like to say, the unfiltered truth of what it's like to be an advocate of Cisco at the time. But it was fantastic. It was great.
I mean, I still have customers in our advocacy program who joke about our conference last year where there were just 2 of us. And if you've ever worked a conference, if there are 2 of you, that means that maybe you get to go to the bathroom
Yeah.
sometime or have lunch. So they at one point came and 2 of my customers kicked me out of the booth and they're like, you need to go eat lunch.
Go and
We
have
are
a
going to take
break.
over. And they took over and ran the booth so I could eat
Really
lunch. And
fantastic.
they still bring it up. And that, it goes to the point of you don't even have to ask. They
Yeah.
are there for you because they feel like you've given so much to them
Yeah.
already.
Yeah. Brilliant. And I don't think we could not talk about AI at all. today on a podcast. But what's your perspective on how AI will shape advocacy programs in the next few years?
What I'm hoping that AI will do is fill the gaps that are really hard for teams right now when it comes to connection. So we have a lot of customers, again, all over the globe, and it is tricky for us unless we have one-on-one conversations at like a user conference, or if we happen to see a conversation that's happening in the community. I don't necessarily know if there are customers out there who are in Germany and they want to really connect with other German customers. It's tricky to find where those gaps in connection are happening. That's where I'm hoping, and I need to learn more about it and learn how this can all come together and talk with my technical folks who are smarter than me, but say, how can we use AI to identify when there is an ask for connection in the community and we can help, marry those two together. I think that is a massive opportunity because that's the foundation, right? Once
Yeah.
connections are made and people feel like they're part of the tribe, they feel like they're establishing relationships, it all blossoms from there. So that's this place that I would start. There's probably a million other things that are going to come to.
Yeah, I know it's a huge area, but I love that one. And finally, Jenny, what excites you most about the future of customer advocacy over the next few years?
I'm excited, number one, that people are realizing that it has to change from where we've been. I think is that lights a fire in me when I have conversations with folks who they're like, I just don't know how to do it different. And I
Yeah,
challenge them of what value are you bringing to the customer? It's amazing when you ask somebody that and they're just like, oh, I'm not sure. They have this look of, oh, shoot, am I actually bringing value to the customer? Giving them
yeah,
swag is not giving them value. So you have to think about what value are you bringing? The fact that that conversation is shifting is very exciting to me. The fact that people are starting to talk more about how can I in customer advocacy level up, raise up, create more awareness around John, Jim, Sarah, and Jill. How can I help them be more present in the space so people see them as an expert? That's what excites me, that we can help change the trajectory of people's careers because we're giving them a platform and a place to do it and tools they need.
yeah.
That's what I get really excited about it.
Yeah, I love the fact that you've just focused on the human side. And that doesn't surprise me, given what you shared at the start as well, Jenny. You're a wonderful, wonderful person. And I love how that is manifesting itself in business as well, whether you realize how much or not, but that human connection and crucial and doing best by people for people. And, you've used the word value often and the value that you're providing for others. I think that's fantastic. And on that, I just want to say thank you so much for providing great value here on the podcast and spending your valuable time with us. So I really appreciate that. And thank you for being a guest on Trusted Voices.
Thank you, Emma. It was a delight as always to talk to you, and I'm excited about our next conversation.
Thank you. So thank you to all our listeners. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And just as a reminder, if you'd like to see how you are benchmarking against your competitors when it comes to customer advocacy, do take our test on the link below or head to thetrusted.io.